Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Thursday, March 5th. We're going to take a look at the markets the way we usually do and then look at some of the global indices today. 5 stocks in focus today: Best Buy, Caterpillar, Chicago Bridge and Iron, Celgene, and YY. Okay, we're going to start off here with the Dow. The Dow was up almost 39 points today, and that's after it was down pretty good yesterday. I can't remember the, let's see, 18,096. It was about 100 and, 104, 107, something like that. Is that right? That looks right. I actually can't remember. All I know is it was down, and it was down even more before it closed down. So we've gotten a couple. Today's close is 18,134, just a hair above the 10-day moving average. So we do not have 2 closes in a row. Interesting, let's see, the ADX is 19 in here, so it's not a super strong trending on the Dow anyway. So let's move to the SPX because I've got a wave count I'm trying to keep on the S&P 500 here. A couple closes below the 10 here, but this almost looks like just a 4th wave pullback, a very minor, minute waves almost is what I would call these. Now, in order to get this, let me look at this. If you count this as 1, 2, we're working a 3. Then this can't be 3 complete. I mean, you can't overlap. You can't have 4 overlap 1. That's why I think what we're working here is a 5 wave count within 3. So what I would expect to see is the next move up right here. That is a part of the 3rd, let's call this one minute. This is almost sub-minute, but the next 5th wave of this 3rd wave here, little I bracketed wave, let's call it that. And again, this is all part of what I think we're working is a 3rd minor wave here, 1, 2, and then working a 3. We just had this big 1st wave here, a choppy 2nd wave pullback, and now the 3rd wave, and actually expecting to have a little more power on this. So watching this to see if this starts to roll over and come back down, then something else might be going on, and that's always possible. I mean, that's the thing you got to be aware of. Then the Nasdaq trending a lot more stronger than the other indices, and the Nasdaq was up 15.6 today. So again, it's not quite back above 5,000, but it's very close to where it was. New York Composite, similar type thing. I do think that we're working a same wave count in here as on the S&P 500. I do think we're working this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. So now I am expecting this to continue the thrust to the upside. And again, if it doesn't happen and we start rolling over, then we've got to reassess what's going on. Russell 2000. Almost as strong as the Nasdaq, but I don't think quite as strong. And let's see, short-term trading index is, again, we're not getting a whole lot of movement here on the 10-day. It's kind of creeping up a little bit, but it's right in the middle. The VIX, same thing. Yesterday we tried to have a rally as the market sold off, then it came back, and today we got this small little doji bar in here. Not really getting much of any kind of a reading other than that, it's pulled back and it's now down in this neighborhood, down in here. And of course, this is how you eventually build some kind of a little base or something, but we'll have to see. Wrong button. The high-low index is the next one I want to look at. Now, this is the one caution I'm getting in here, okay? The other indicators aren't showing me much, but this new high, new low, the way this keeps trending down while the market's trending up, that's divergence. That kind of happened over here in terms of this trend. And if we go back to the S&P 500, you can see that during that time into early December, it was still rising, but eventually that caught up with it. And so that's the one caution I've got in here. I'm kind of wondering whether that is impacting this. because it's just not confirming as of yet what the market's doing with most of the indices. All right, let's see. I think, oh, the last one, I want to look at McClellan Oscillator, and I don't know if this is complete for today. Sometimes this data really lags. The market doesn't finalize till like 7:30 in Central Time. So this is the best reading right now. You know, down here below zero, it's approaching. It looks like we've broken down out of this congestion a little bit. So again, that would be the other second little like yellow flag that's starting to come up. Now we're not down to an extreme, but we have broken down out of this kind of congestion area. So if you kind of look at this in here like this, and that kind of back and forth and getting tighter and any tighter, now we've broken down out of it. So that's the other one that's giving me a little bit of heartburn. Okay, so let's see. Let's move ahead. Let's go ahead and move on to our global indices. Let's start off with the German DAX, which continues to be on fire. This just keeps going up. Little pullback, keep heading up, and it's what it's been doing ever since the first of the year. I mean, look at this. Since wow, this is, where's the end of the year? Right there, 98.05, and it's at 11.504 after just a little over 2 months. That is one heck of a move. You're getting a little bit of divergence coming in, but not much. And Russia's kind of stabilizing sideways here, a little bit of congestion. You can you know, easily could be part of an ongoing upward move, since that seems to be the direction that this was going in. Grab that. So a little bit of, you know, sideways consolidation going on after, you know, you had this bigger move and it broke on out of it. So the same thing could be going on here. I expect it's going to run into some overhead resistance fairly quickly, and so notice how we didn't get any reaction when that guy was killed in Moscow here. You didn't get much of a reaction in the stock market over that incident. So not sure what to make of that. Okay, I wanted to move on to India. Nifty 50, this looks like we're in this fifth wave. This may be all we're getting out of this fourth minor wave here, so we may be in this fifth minor wave. One of my projections in here, you know, could say that this is the top. Now, based on the intermediate waves, I think we got more to go. So I'm still looking for this to continue pushing higher. It's come a long way already, but I think we got a little bit more to the high side as we push in the final fifth wave here. And then the last one I want to take a look is the Shanghai Composite. And this one also, I've got a question mark on this, on the second wave pullback, because it just seems a little too shallow for me for this big, this looks like a big first wave up here. And so this is only corrected 23%. Okay, so that's usually wave two. If we've got the wave count right, usually a wave two pulls back 50 to 61.8%. My expectation is closer to 50%, and this is only 23%. So I'm wondering whether or not we're getting something like an A, B, C, getting an X, and this is like a Y, and then we get another corrective move that then pulls us back even further. So that's what I'm kind of watching for, a little wary about. And, you know, the reason why I think this is a first wave up is because, you know, we had this this big move down from the top up here, you know, right here, and then we had the counter trend, and then we had this choppy, what looked like a WXY, kind of a complex, and ended with a final triangle type of compression in here. So, you know, that was my best take of what this was doing right here. Now, it's possible it ended here, and it's possible this is like a 1 and a 2, and then this is 3. That may be more accurate because 3 is usually the more powerful and stronger wave moves. So that I need to take a closer look at that. Let me get rid of this. Let me zoom back in with my mouse. And here's why I'm saying that is because this was pretty choppy and it wasn't real clear, but if it's possible, if this was some kind of wave 1, we got some kind of pullback wave 2, and then we did a, a third wave here, this makes more sense to be a third wave. Then this makes sense as a shallow wave 3. Okay, so I may actually redo my wave count in here, and because a shallow wave 4 is what I meant to say. Okay, wave 4 is typically if the first one was deep, the second one is shallow, and that makes sense that we could have something like that. So gonna take a hard relook at the Shanghai Composite and see what the wave count might be. I think this may be a third intermediate wave here. Okay, now that we've taken a look at that, let's jump in. We're gonna take a look at Best Buy and then CAT. All right, Best Buy, this thing just, I keep thinking it's gonna roll over just by the way it looks to me, but it just keeps pushing higher. So, you just got to go with it, and it just keeps. Now, I know I had this dotted line up here. I'm going to extend this to the right. So could be running into a little bit of resistance up here. And where's that dotted line coming in? It's coming in from the, the congestion, the back up in here. So, all the people who didn't sell are going to be selling as you start to get back up in here, and they're getting back to break even after this huge move down. So we'll see whether or not this has got enough power to burst on up through this the resistance. It's even like this little crack right here, it just came right on back. So we'll see what it's trending up nicely. I have to continue to watch it. And let's see, let's take a look at CAT. CAT has been in a pretty strong downtrend. I thought we were we're getting some bullish divergence coming in on this move down in here, but it just rolled right on over and came back down. So I don't know, I'm having a hard time getting bullish on this. I think it needs to prove itself out a little bit more. You could almost say it might be trying to put in a little base if you kind of looked at between the it'd be interesting to see how well any of this holds. The trading that's going on here that's occurred over the last 5 to 6 weeks, and we'll see whether or not it comes down and tests this low and breaks on down through. But right now the short-term trend has returned to being to the downside. We've got the 10 below the 21, below the 55, below the 233-day moving average. Everything is aligned to the downside. And the next one is Chicago Bridge and Iron, and it was doing what CAT was doing until up in here. And it kind of, when you look at this right here, look at this capitulation day. Look at the volume, this huge volume. And so that really was kind of a capitulation day. We started to get, and we really did get divergence in. It's really not more like right here is where that line should be drawn, because this close is higher than this close. So it's not surprising that the RSI is higher. So this is the close that's lower, and yet the RSI was higher. It did not go to a lower low. So there's the bullish divergence that showed up on the RSI. And now we've had this this turnaround. We've got the short term and intermediate term trying to track to the high side here. Nice big move here on this day, on the 25th of February. Good volume too, second highest I think behind this one right here. So we'll it's short term. It's gone up. Again, I'm not saying I've got a signal or anything else like that. Just tracking it, looking at it, checking in on it. These are all the stocks that I do trade, look to trade options on, and so I'm always kind of watching to see if there's a setup that I get interested in. So right now, the neat thing about this is that it's come back up above this resistance point here. It proved this was resistance. This support became resistance here, and it blew through that on this day in this nice gap with big volume. Then it pulls back, buying comes in. So we'll see whether or not it can continue the trend to push to the high side. The next area of resistance is going to be right up in here with this consolidation and this previous low here, just similar to this. So that's Chicago Bridge and Iron. Next one is Celgene. Celgene continues to trend up, although it's getting choppy, a lot of overlapping waves. I'm kind of wondering, this, to me, this kind of looks like an ending wedge of some kind. So we'll see whether or not this can continue to, you know, every time you think it's going to go, it just rolls right back down over. At least that's what it's done the last couple of times. So I don't, you know, there's a part of me that thinks this thing may be starting to break down. We're not getting any extreme readings on the RSI. Let's see what the demand index. The demand index is negative, but it's not really telling me a whole lot because, again, you're getting this kind of action. So I don't know. This is one that if I had to, my gut is telling me that this thing is, you know, maybe in the final stages here and running into some resistance and maybe getting ready to pull back. So we'll see whether or not it breaks this trend line. Then it's definitely, I think that's what it's going to be doing. So that's my take on Celgene. And the last one to look at today is YY, Chinese ADR. This is really interesting. Okay, I think YY has had this first big primary wave one up. Okay, from 2012 and towards the end of 2012 up here, peaking February a year ago, a little over a year ago. Okay, now it's done a little bit of an A, B, C sideways correction, and it's a flat. And so, and the reason I call it a flat is because B came right back up and went slightly beyond the beginning of A. And this was a 50% retrace of the entire move. Okay, I think after this occurred, I actually thought, well, maybe we're getting the new leg up, and then this rolls over. You know, you can see how it just, you know, broke the uptrend line, and then it got itself into this almost perfect channel to the downside. You can see how the touch points. And when I was evaluating this evening, late this afternoon, I extended these trend lines. They actually had only been right here and here. I hadn't looked at this in a while, and I was really amazed to see how the touch points here and here came exactly to this trend line. Now, I think because of the way this is pulled right back down here to A, which is exactly what you would expect in a flat, okay? A, B, C. Sometimes it goes below and goes beyond the end of A, but right now it's sure looking like it. And given that it's hitting the bottom of this channel, given that it's getting support from in here, the price action today really looks like this thing is getting ready to take off. So that would be my guess on this. I mean, to me, it would be one of those that you could get in and then just, you know, have your stop right down below here on a close. You know, you might get whipped around, but so you could kind of say, well, okay, if it closes below the low point here, then, you know, then you're out. But right now, this looks like it's getting ready to take off. So that's why I am marking this as a 2, which would mean that we would be off and running on a new 5-wave sequence, primary wave 3. All right, that's my take on YY. It'll be interesting to see if that starts to blast off. All right, I'll be back on, well, we get the jobs report tomorrow morning. That's the big economic news. It comes out once a month, for the first Friday of the month. And I'll be back on Saturday with the weekend update. So if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. It's easy to do. Just fill out your first name and email and you'll be good to go. Gives you access to the Trade Ideas webpage, and I've got a free PDF for you. I think that's it. Everyone have a great Friday. Talk to you this weekend.